Hi guys, Pharrell Williams here with ARTST. I'm sitting here with the coolest of the coolest, my new teacher, Henry Rollins. It's gonna be super cool. Check it out.
You have to burn so much neural tissue on stage. You are pushing so many calories.
So much of it is directed by the soul and the spirit of what you expect out of music.
Those songs can make you feel ridiculously brave and somewhat impervious.
So, right, so don't you think that that is like your own version of Bitches Brew jazz?
It was the one thing that felt the most natural. Just being on stage with no one else on stage, it's just me and a microphone relating to you, the audience. I fear failing them. I really fear failing them. I love them so much. They have no idea. Oops.
We're in downtown Los Angeles with Henry Rollins. He became a household name as the front man for Black Flag and has continued to carry that punk rock attitude to much success in the world of music, books, acting, and activism. Thank you for coming to talk to me today.
No problem, glad to be here.
Huge fan, by the way.
Thank you.
What role did anger play during your formative years?
Anger allowed me to find myself. In that, when I was a very young person, I spent a lot of time being very afraid. Afraid of classmates, afraid of people in the neighborhood, afraid of members of my family. A lot of time in mid-flinch, in cringe mode. And so that would be one long inhalation. And then I exhaled, the roar. And that was me finding my anger. And my anger is with me to this day. I hope it never leaves me. And it doesn't manifest itself in ways like, hitting dogs or destroying property. It fuels my curiosity.
And if you think about it, anger's fueled a lot of very interesting things in the world.
Fuels invention.
Yeah, for sure.
Innovation, dissatisfaction. Unfortunately, there's a lot of downsides to it. There's a lot of bad statistics. But for me, anger, it allowed me to go, no, I can be here. I was not an athlete or a good student, but the only thing that was really mine was my anger. And it really helped me define myself as a young person.
What music were you listening to as a teenager?
I lived with my mother most of the time. And my mother is a music lover. And so we would go to the record store 1 to 3 nights a week at one point, because we lived literally across the street from a great record store. I was raised with everything from Bartók, Wagner, Chopin, Barbra Streisand, Jimi Hendrix, Bob Dylan, Woody and Arlo Guthrie, basically very, very eclectic. And if you're a young person, you hear whatever's around you, you like it because it's what's on. And so I would listen to a record my mother was playing and I would kind of take it away. And she would never come after it, she'd go buy another one. And so little by little, my record collection grew. I was a very weird little dude as far as what I listened to, because it was what I thought sounded good, but it was coming from a woman who would go see Coltrane and Miles, who had a very rarefied taste in music.
Coltrane and Miles.
Yeah, my mom was quite the jazz person. And at one point I was going through her Miles Davis section, and I pull out 2 copies of Birth of the Cool, which is just one of those records. Very important record to jazz music. I said, why do you have 2? She said, you don't remember? We wore the first one out. I was like, wow. And so music was always a very important thing to me, because I'm not big enough to be on the team. I'm not making friends very easily. So records don't hit back. Records don't make fun of you. And so I would go into my room and...
Wait. Say that again.
Records don't hit you back. Records don't tease you.
That's right.
The Beatles never say, hey, you can't run fast or whatever. I liked records because they didn't judge you. You could put them on and take them off. And so I was one of those, like a lot of kids, I spent a lot of time alone in my room. And so the music put a very heavy dent in its power over me at a very young age. When you hear a record or some signal, some sound at such an early age, it not only becomes part of your life, it's like encoded in your DNA. Like the voice of Dionne Warwick. I've been listening to those records since I was this high, because my mom had them on. And years ago, I actually got a chance to meet her. And I said, I have to thank you. You have no idea, but you're one of my surrogate moms. And she's like, wow. I said, yeah, since I was this high, you've been part of my structure. I'd like to be able to do the same thing to Gladys Knight, if I ever got a chance to meet her, because those records, they're just perfect. But those songs, you know, I always, when I grew up, I said one day, when I grow up, I want to be a Pip. I want to be like, you know, in her backing vocal group and go woo woo, but, you know, never got the chance. But so music, it plays a big part of my life.
And I guess that's why your music sticks so well, because along with the aggressive adrenaline core of it all, so much of it is directed by the soul and the spirit of what you expect out of music. Like, you have very high standards.
Yeah, and I'm not much good with music. I made a lot of records, but, you know, anyone can make a record. But I've always
why do you do that though? Why do you, like, I see that, like, you discredit yourself in a way. Like, if you know what, you're not discrediting yourself,
I know.
but it's kind of, you kind of taper it down.
I try to keep it real.
We would go up to this magical place, New York, and see these amazing shows, go to the great record stores where you'd ask for any punk rock record. Like, you'd say, do you have the thing, but not the first pressing with the misspelling on the label, but the second pressing where the typo's been removed in your face for $1.50. And you'd stagger out with records that are now worth some stupid amount because people like me will overbid on them on eBay. And so New York was this amazing.
I jumped in my car and went back down to Washington thinking, wow, I was in Black Flag for 90 seconds. It sure felt good. And now back to work.
The guys that really, really, really shredded would be listening to straight Black Flag.
Those songs can make you feel ridiculously brave and somewhat impervious.
So you went from the frying pan straight into the fire.
Yeah. And it's because everyone else kind of took it on the beak for the next generation to go out and do their thing.